Well, they made 14 threes on you. We could talk about their big girls, all we want, but you had been disappointed with the start. That especially that on their end, they came out just guns ablaze. I think they made 7 of their first 8 shots, and it was 23-5. It was an 18-point deficit right away, and that was the difference in the final score.
Yeah.
How crucial do you think those first few minutes were?
It was a microcosm of the whole game. It just, they're a really good team, and they came in with tons of focus, tons of passion. I mean, you could see it on their, constantly on the floor. You could see it constantly on the bench. They were desperate. They dropped 2 home games right before the break, and they came in just, they played like it. They played desperate, and they played great. And so we just, disappointing that, I don't know, if we just thought that wasn't going to happen, but against really good teams, we allowed them to probably get momentum back from last, their last 2 home games, and then they just, all of a sudden they remembered that they're a really good team, and they shot lights out.
It was a heck of a comeback. I mean, your girls, I think it was 23-5, and then it was a 16-2 run, which made it, it got to within 4. And then they just, Brittany she's just a load. But not only her, when they're scoring inside and out, that was as impressive an offensive performance as I've seen out of any of the teams yet. Do you feel like you kind of ran into a buzzsaw? I mean, they made 14 threes, shot over 50% from long range, and she had 20 points at halftime. What would it have taken, do you think, to match up with them, or do you think they just had one of those games?
They did have one of those games. I would like to say that, here's the thing, is they're capable of that, and we allowed them to be capable. And it became contagious. Like they started, the shots that they hit weren't contested, they weren't out of rhythm, they weren't pressured. And so you give really good players, the freedom to just, it was a shooting gallery. It was like a practice. It was like we were a scout team that was, just late to the, we allowed them to do it. Kudos to them because they had to do it on the road, and they did. But we got what we allowed.
Kate, when you get down that early, I mean, is there a feeling, it has to have been almost like you got punched in the face real quick. First 5 minutes they're up so big. I mean, how do you try to, and the team did rally, but how do you come out of that and try to get your team organized and back in the game?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, they put up 20 points on us in 5 minutes, which they're on track to get, 160 points in that game. So for us, we just had to really focus on our defense and lock down on D, and that's what we've talked about all week, is how we were going to play them defensively, and we came out there, and it was like everyone just forgot what they were doing, myself included. I mean, Hernandez put up 7 points on me in 5 minutes, and I was just I was embarrassed by how I was playing, but it started with us defensively, communicating on defense is how it all started, and then when they went on our runs was when we stopped talking and on defense. But we want to be a more defensive-minded team because our offense isn't always going to be there, so we started it defensively, and then we got in lulls during the game where we let it slide again.
And what was the difference there? You again were able to manage, get back in the groove, go on that run to cut it within 4. What's the difference there? Is it a matter of effort? Is it a matter of organization? Just focus?
I think it's more just focus and effort. It's the extra effort to talk on defense, which when things aren't going right for us offensively, or it feels like at some points they're just making every shot that they take. That's kind of deflating, but it's those times where we stop talking defensively, and I feel like for us it just glares through when we stop talking.
And Mary, that Brittany, she's an incredible talent. She was, and without, even if you are all talking and clicking on all cylinders in defense and helping each other, she's still going to get her, her share. What is it about her that is more impressive than a lot of the other players that we come across in this conference?
She's pretty long. She has a drive to score. That's all she wants, and she has the attitude that no one's going to stop her. So unless we double team her and play our defense correctly, then we are gonna struggle against that, and, something to learn from.
Coach, tomorrow, Metro State, you expect pretty much the same energy for them coming out as this team, and hoping for a little bit more energy at the start?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna, we talked about going in this weekend. I told you, these teams, us included, are gonna be in the mix. Somewhere, somewhere at the end of the line, we're gonna be in the mix of making a run for it or not. We let this one, we got beat and should have, like, they definitely deserved to win this game. And then Metro is going to be the same way. Like, they started a little bit slow, with ground to make up, and they're going to come here trying to do the exact same thing. I mean, Springs dug himself in a hole, and then they just dug themselves right out, like with an opportunity now to do really good things. And Metro's going to do the same thing. I'm imagining they'll probably win, tonight, and then come in tomorrow with a little bit of momentum, and knowing that, every game counts. And so we're not understanding that right now. We're not getting the fact that, every game, that yes, it's a long season, but in that long season and long conference season, like, these all matter, because at the end, like, you're going to get snake bit.
Yep.
So we just, until we, turn the page on being able to be consistent, then we're gonna have the up and down until we figure that out.
When you have teams like that, a group of teams with equal talent, is the X factor almost always energy and effort, you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. We can play with and beat anybody, and we can lose to a lot of people, and that's based off, what we bring to the table. So, today we didn't bring it to the table, and they did, and, like, you can see, like, we had such small spurts of bringing it to the table,
Yeah.
and when we did, you're like, okay, this is, I thought it was going to be a really good game coming in, but unfortunately, our spurts were too short, and they maintained it throughout.
Thank you all, I appreciate it.
Yep.